What is up guys, this is Wim and in this video I will show you my favorite sound design hacks in U-he Diva. Let's get started. So we are starting out with the very basic arpeggiator sound here, which sounds like this. And now we're gonna take it to the next level. First of all, what many people don't know is that you actually have a sequencer built into U-he Diva here. And you can apply this by using the voice map modulator, which you can find in the trimmers tab. And then you can apply this to whatever parameter you want. For example, we could apply it to the cutoff filter, but this time we want to change the melodics of the sound and really program a sequence in here. So I'm gonna change it over here. And we're gonna turn it all the way up to 24, so that would be 2 octaves that we can change in the transpose tab over here. And I already put in a little sequence over here, so you can see this is -20, this is -16, this is +14, +30, and that's already it. And now let's see how this sounds. So that already sounds way more interesting than before, and you can see we just applied 6 voices over here, so it's actually already stopping at the 6th point here, and that just makes our sequence a little bit more interesting because we have a 16th pattern here in the arpeggiator. Because if we would stop at the 8 or at the 4, for example, this would mean that the sequence here is always the same in relation to our kick, but because we use a count like the 6 or for example like the 3, we have a little bit more of an inconsistent sound in our track here. And now, as I said, for example, we could also take this voice map modulator and put it on the cutoff filter here. Would also get quite interesting, but this also sounds very consistent in my opinion, and especially for those melodic techno arpeggiators, we could use a little bit more randomness in the sound. So you can go in here and choose the random function, and let's see how this sounds. And you can really take this random function and apply it pretty much to everything that you can modulate in here. So for example, we could go in this tab over here and apply a little bit of randomness to the noise here, which sounds really nice in my opinion. And it becomes more noticeable if we can turn the cutoff filter here up a bit. And when we apply some very obvious random effects, it's always a good idea to turn on the delay here, because this one is adding back a little bit of groove, which our random effect here is taking a little bit away because it's very inconsistent. Now this is one way of applying some randomness to your sound. You can also use the LFO sound, which many people don't know, but you actually have a built-in random function in here. And I really like to use this random glide effect. So this is similar to a sample and hold function, where we are also using some randomness, but we are holding this random velocity for a certain amount of time, and we can choose this time over here, of course. This time maybe we can use the 4th note here, and then we could apply it, for example, for the volume mod. And maybe even on the resonance filter here. Just slightly. And as I said, you can really play around here. We could, for example, apply some randomness on the feedback over here. Also in the FM mod here sounds really nice sometimes. And I just want to show you this one more time, how we can use this voice map modulator. For example, also this bass line here. You can see this is also just the root note playing here, and we also created a very nice sequence. And this time we actually applied it to the cutoff filter here. So this is very boring. And here we are turning the cutoff filter up, and here we're turning it all the way down. And it's creating a very nice groove here. And now I want to show you another technique how you can make your sounds way fatter here. We have this bass hit which sounds like this. And it sounds nice, but we can definitely add some fatness, and a good start for this is always the unison mode here. It's a little bit hidden in the Diva, but you can apply it over here. So what this is doing is that it's taking the sound here, all the oscillators, and just laying it by 2. And the magic of this is really getting applied when you go into the Pan Mod. Choose again the voice map here. Then we go into the trimmer, and we want to turn this all the way to the left on the 1 and all the way to the right on the 2. And then what is very important actually that you only apply 2 voices here, because otherwise, of course, we are also playing the other voice map modulators, and this time we just want to use the first 2. And now you can see we haven't applied anything yet, so it's still in mono, the sound. And now let's turn this up. And I hope you could hear this, but this one is spreading our sound out very nicely into the stereo field, and it sounds way fatter in the track. But I would also really like some more distortion on this sound. So what you can do, there's actually a little bit of a hidden distortion effect in the U-he Diva, and many people don't use this effect, but it's actually quite underrated because they have a very nice drive knob over here, and we're gonna use it this time. So if we don't tweak the settings, it doesn't sound too good, but what I usually do is turn down the stereo here quite a bit. And of course we want to add some distortion, so let's turn this up all the way. And with this balance knob here you can choose the frequency, and I think we also want to turn this up a little bit higher. And now you can really hear this fat distortion here. Maybe even turn down the stereo width a bit. So I think you can already see what this is doing. Quite a nice effect here built in into Ableton, and you can really experiment with that and get creative. And also, of course, if you want to add some more stereo width to your sound, it's a very nice and easy way. And also the reverb effect here that is built in into the Diva is very nice and very underrated in my opinion. So right now we have this arpeggiator sound which sounds like this. So quite a nice big hall reverb over here. And in 99% of the presets you will find similar settings like this. Sometimes you would turn the damp effect here down a little bit. This one is cutting away some of the high frequencies, which is nice for this darker melodic techno vibe. But in my opinion, the diffusion knob here is very underrated, and most people turn this all the way up because it sounds very nice and smooth. But I just want to show you what happens when we turn this pretty much all the way down here. So we're turning this a little bit more into a delay here, and this works especially great for this short kind of plug sounds because it almost sounds like a nice granular delay, and we don't even need to use this effect over here because this is already kind of a reverb and a delay in one plugin here, and I really love to use this on my sounds. Now also a very common sound design technique in the melodic techno scene is of course automating the cutoff filter here with an LFO, and this is very simple of course. Just choose one of the LFOs here and just apply it to your cutoff filter. And you want to turn the delay here down usually because this one is delaying the LFO here. You can get creative with the waveforms here, which is really nice. And this time I've chosen the 16th note here. And let's apply a little bit of that. Sounds very nice, but I think it's quite boring because the LFO speed is staying the same and also the modulation depth, so it's not super interesting. But what we can do is, for example, go into the rate mod over here, and there's a bunch of nice things that you can do here. For example, something that works great if you add the key follow function here. And what this is doing is that we are modulating the rate over here. So for example, the lower notes over here would have quite a slow LFO speed, and the very high notes here get super fast LFO speeds. And of course this works the best if you also have a little bit more distance here in between your notes, and you have to really go in here and fine tweak it a little bit so the settings are sounding nice. So let's see how this sounds. And of course, you could also, for example, choose the random function here. This one also works great. Or you could use the velocity tab. Of course, you could also have to apply some velocity here. But like this, you can really go in here and fine tweak the speed of the LFO on every single note here. But you can also use this effect in a little bit more gentle way, and a very nice technique is to apply some LFO modulation on your pad sounds. And we're going to choose again LFO 2 here. This time the modulation source for the rate will actually be LFO number 1. And now when this LFO is at the bottom, this LFO will have quite a slow speed, and when this LFO is at the peak of its curve, it will be very high on this one. So it's actually better to turn the rate down here quite a bit, because we don't want to have it changing too fast. But let's first give it a listen how it sounds without it. So it sounds really nice, but the LFO speed is always the same, of course. So let's apply a little bit of that modulation. And yeah guys, this is already it for this short video. I hope you learned something new. If so, please let me know in the comments, and again by smashing the like. Thank you guys for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.